Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another game in the WAGL. This game being the championship game of the WAGL. Queensland ACT taking this sideline, getting ready for the destination. If you could all be outstanding for the national anthem, please.
And with that, we welcome you to the very first Women's Australian Gridiron League final here live on Ascension Sports. I'm Chris Guscott. Special thanks to Hostworks for helping us out with the stream today. And boys, this is going to be a cracker of a final. The Queensland Sun Devils, undefeated in the campaign. 2 convincing victories, but never count out a team, and especially when the ACT Monarchs, they came off a strong win against the Coyotes in round 2. To book their place here in the final here at WAGL Oval here in Queensland.
This is the championship game. The winner of this game will be Grand National Champions for a 2-year period. Much more beautiful day out here today down at WAGL. If those of you who were with us a few weeks ago when Queensland met ACT in the preliminary rounds will have noticed that the heat has been turned down, which will be interesting with ACT having such a small roster this week. It could be a bit more of a level playing field. We're back by popular demand, especially by our dear friends overseas in Canada. We thank them for their support and everyone who's picking up the live feed. Queensland will be kicking off today with ACT returning the ball. Just waiting for the teams to come out on the field fully.
Queensland to kick off, and we are almost set to go here in the inaugural Women's Australian Gridiron League final. Queensland to kick off, ACT to receive. In the backfield, Katrina Dumont looking to take the kick. And ACT's offense in their second game against the Coyotes utilised the run. Only passed once in the entire game, showing that they have a strong reliance on their running game, as do the Queensland Sun Devils. It's going to be definitely a ground and pound sort of match in this one. And we are underway here in the final. Kick is well received there in the backfield. Catherine Mill takes it. She gets through the gap and is able to get some decent yards towards midfield. And the Monarchs will be ready to set up here for their first possession of the final. Like I mentioned earlier, very strong rushing offense, and Catherine Mill has been a huge part of it in their first 2 games of the campaign. And now will be looking to get behind that fearsome offensive line to make sure that she can make her impact here on the final. They're definitely going to need it, ACT. So here we go, the first play of the match. 2 wide receivers, left-hand side, I formation. Danielle de Groot, the quarterback, under center. Hands off down the middle, and there's going to be a flag. It was fumbled, and de Groot was the quickest to pick up on it. And there will be a flag on the play, however. And immediately, maybe some early nerves here from the Monarchs. Looks like that flag maybe coming by accident here. 2nd down and 8 now. Once again, same formation. Queensland, cover 1 in the backfield. De Groot this time hands it off effectively down the middle, and once again the Sun Devils are all over it. And that'll set up a 3rd down and medium to medium short situation, which leaves the playbook open for the Monarchs here as they look to keep the chains moving on the first drive of the match. Queensland might have the liberty of being able to stack the box here. And being able to stop the run in this one will go a long way for the Sun Devils to make it a clean sweep and to take the title home here. 3rd down now and 5. De Groot, toss play to the right-hand side. Mill looks to cut back inside and is hit hard. And when the contain did brilliantly to make sure they got to the outside, force the running back in, and that'll be a loss of yards. And Queensland defense already standing up here to the rushing offense of the Monarchs, and that's going to set up a 4th down and 7 situation. Definitely not at that sort of stage where you're going to be going for it on 4th down, that's for sure. Make sure you play conservatively to start it off. Snap is good. Has time and a good long punt. That's going to be right down. And that is a beautiful punt, and it's going to be pulled in on, and they're going to fumble around for it. I have to wait to see who recovered that one, but regardless, that's going to be a very good punt for the Monarchs. That puts the Sun Devils right on their line, but it's been recovered. And the Monarchs have moved all the way back down the field and now are within a few yards of adding the first score. It's usually one of the golden rules of kick returning. You just got to make sure that you get out the way if the ball is going to roll dead. And in that case, they have fumbled the ball and given ACT a golden opportunity to start and open the scoring here early in the first here on Ascension Sports. Danielle de Groot under center. Hands off the middle. And she is met solidly again. Queensland doing a good job in the early stages here to stack that box and to make sure there's no penetration from the offensive line, because Catherine Mill, as we saw in the last game against the New South Wales Coyotes, she can really explode into that gap, and when she is in space, she's very hard to bring down. So Queensland obviously doing their homework, stacking the middle. 2nd down and goal. 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side. Groot steps back. Quick flat pass. Gets it to the outside. She's got room to move. She's in for the touchdown. And ACT immediately on the board here in the first quarter. Quick little flat pass there to Katrina Dumont. And she is going to get the seam to the outside. Runs next to the pylon. And ACT come out in this one. Immediately take the lead. And in front of the home crowd, the Sun Devils immediately on the back foot and waiting on the extra point conversions here. Wow, what a terrific start for the Monarchs. That fumble on the punt return could prove costly in the stretch. Going to line up I formation, 1 receiver either side. Queensland looking to stack the line here. De Groot fumbles the snap. And that will end that. So it's a 6-point lead for the Monarchs here in the first quarter. And immediately the Sun Devils have got a fight on their hands here. Welcome to Ascension Sports. If you've just joined us, the Monarchs taking advantage of a fumble on a punt return, setting up inside their own 10 and then making sure they convert. Katrina Dumont taking the 7-yard reception in for the touchdown. And now Queensland, though, we know they definitely have no shortage of position players who can score. In particular, Christy Moran, who has had the bulk of the offense for the Sun Devils. 8 touchdowns in her first 2 games. Yes, you heard me correctly. She has been on fire. That offensive line has given her plenty of room to move. And the second that Moran gets some clean area to move in, she is gone and proves very hard to bring down. She is going to be a huge key for the Sun Devils in this one. But also in terms of their passing game as well. I mean, Denise Papay did a good job last week controlling the tempo. It didn't particularly need to pass the ball a lot, but when she did, she made sure it was effective. And she's got plenty of good receivers around it. So the Monarchs, they're going to have to be able to make sure that their defense holds firm here to protect their early lead. 6-0 here in the Women's Australian Gridiron League final. Good crowd here at WAGL in Queensland. Beautiful day. Fair bit of wind around, which will make passing difficult. Certainly didn't prove to be the case on the last play. Kick off. It's going to be taken up the middle. Gets to the outside, breaks a tackle, and then brought down in the open field. Good tackle from Tayani Watiti. And now the Queensland Sun Devils will have a chance to get on the field and to open their account here for this matchup. As for the Monarchs in their last game, they proved that their linebacking core certainly is quick enough to get to the outside and contain the runners. And especially that defensive line can get penetration, put pressure on the quarterback, and to make sure that they're not getting in any sort of rhythm, because you certainly can't let anyone on the Queensland offense get into a rhythm. They will make you pay all day. I formation. Papay under center, takes the handoff, puts it straight through the middle to Moran, breaks a tackle, gets into space, and that'll be a first down on her first run, and that is exactly what we're saying. Even though Moran ran straight into traffic, able to break a tackle, and it's that yards after contact ability that we continuously talk about. It's when running backs are able to get through contact, keep it going, and when you can get those 3 extra yards, this has already given them a fresh set of downs and already has pushed them past midfield. 2 receivers to the right-hand side, 2 backs in the backfield. Handoff off the middle again. Moran gets the outside, and she's got a lot of room to move. Does extremely well to get down the outside. And she is in for the touchdown. Shows some incredible speed to break to the outside. Gets good blocking from her receivers. And she tiptoes the sideline. Just gets past the secondary. And when she gets into open space, you are not going to catch her. And that is the immediate response from the Queensland Sun Devils. 6 apiece awaiting the extra point conversions. And already you can see how dangerous Moran is and how dangerous she is going to be in at this game. The Monarchs are going to need to find a very quick answer for her. And as the early tempo is showing at the moment, this could be a high scorer. I formation for the 2-point conversion. Handoff off the middle to the fullback, and she's going to barge her way through. And that is good. So they take an 8-6 lead here early in the first. Already off to a quick start in this one. Expect nothing less here in the final. Both teams coming out to push the tempo here on Ascension Sports. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Chris Guscott from here at the Ascension team. Great to have you here on the live stream, and already we have a terrific match on our hands. Both teams have scored on the opening drives of the match. I'd like to thank Hostworks here for assisting us with the stream, and we're almost about to get underway here following the Christy Moran touchdown. 45 yards on that rush, and believe me, it's certainly nothing new for her. She is able to really break a game apart, especially in the last game last week against the New South Wales Coyotes. It was third down and extremely long, and it just looked extremely easy for her when she converted 75 yards plus. The kick is along the ground here. Hard to recover, but eventually takes it before pressure comes. Ducks back inside one, gets through a tackle, eventually runs into too many Sun Devils to handle. The ball comes out, and there are players diving everywhere. There's going to be a scrum forming, but it looks as if ball security and early trouble here for both teams on special teams. It's going to be very interesting because if Queensland has recovered the ball, they only have 30 yards to go before they can extend their lead here. But it looks as if the Monarchs were able to dive on the ball. Nervous moments. There is a player down on the field, however. Well, it looks as if Queensland actually has recovered it. And this is a huge play here in this one. Number 21 on the reception, Aisha Matthews, taking that one back for the ACT Monarchs. Eventually, when she got hit, the ball came out, and of course you see that mad scramble. And the Sun Devils have the ball back now in very good field position. So now immediately the pressure's back on the Monarchs here to try to retain their field position and to hold just a 2-point deficit at the moment here. It's been a very quick start here in this one. And especially at the pace that the Sun Devils came out in their previous two games, you certainly do not want to fall behind to Queensland because they will put you away early. Their defense in this campaign has been absolutely terrific, has only conceded 6 points. Quick snap. Moran ducks to the outside again, but good closing work from the linebacker. And that's exactly what we were talking about just before kickoff. Monarchs linebackers certainly proving they've got the pace to make sure that they are containing that outside run, because when you get Moran outside the numbers, very hard to stop, as we saw earlier on that touchdown run. So terrific work there to make sure that you wrap her up in the opening field. If you get a tackle in, you've got to make sure you bring her down. 2-yard gain on the play, 2nd down and 8 now for the Sun Devils here. Pay under center, hands it off, this time to the right-hand side from Rand, and she's hit again. And to the Monarchs, doing well here to contain the run in this drive at least. It's now 3rd down and 7, leaves the playbook relatively wide open here for the Sun Devils, apologies. Especially when Moran can make the runs that she has so far. She's averaging over 10 yards a carry in this tournament, which means that even on 3rd down and 10, a running play is in the equation. That's very hard for defenses to stop. One in the backfield, split set, 2 wide receivers either side. Pay drops back, has time, throws on the back foot, and it's intercepted. And a terrific work there from the secondary to jump the route. And Rose Alioni making a terrific play. The pass was underthrown because Denise Pape was running backwards when she threw it. You're not going to be able to get the power that you need when you throw. When you're moving backwards, you're not really pushing it through the ball when you throw it. And that one just sat up perfectly for Rose Alioni to make sure that she jumped in front. And it looks to be an interception. However, the umpire is having a small conference in the middle of the field. We'll have to wait to see what the call is, obviously, but it's going to be a very big turning point. It's a terrific stand there from the Monarchs to make sure that they are at least saying that you're not going to be able to pass on us today. There will be a face mask on at the play, but ACT will still retain possession. So in terms of penalties, it really has shown through the entire Australian Gridiron League tournament, whether it is the men's or the women's, that penalties are a real killer. The Queensland men's team almost threw away their spot in the final, which is to be played next week, against Western Australia over in Perth, they had 167 penalty yards. When you give away those sort of penalties, it really is going to affect your chances because you're essentially taking away almost 2 field lengths of yardage that you're earning, and you certainly can't afford to give that away, especially now when you get into the finals. And a 15-yard face mask is definitely not what you want to have at this stage of the game, especially when you want to establish your own dominance and your own tempo. 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side. Handoff up the middle to the fullback. She's going nowhere. Terrific penetration from the defensive line. Lon Tulloch, one of the main contributors on the tackle there. And that looks like that's going to be a few yards lost there. So 2nd down and 12, 2nd down and 13 coming up for the Monarchs. And on their first drive, they were forced to go 3 and out, but able to recover a punt fumble and had field position given to them, and they were unable to run it in for the touchdown. 2nd down and 13 now. Spread set, 2 receivers either side. De Groot, toss play out to the left-hand side. Mill gets space to the outside, gets a few yards, but shut down well by the linebackers to make sure it didn't turn into a bigger gain. That's going to set up a 3rd down and medium situation here for the Monarchs. And in that sort of situations, especially when it's 2nd down and long as a defense, you can afford to maybe give up maybe 6 or 7 yards. Make sure you don't give up the bigger plays. And especially on passing plays as well, you make sure you sit your secondary and your linebackers maybe a bit further back just to guard against the run. And if worse comes to worse, giving them just a couple of extra yards because they still have to convert here. It's 3rd down and 6, 3rd down and 5 potentially. Spread set again. De Groot under center. Toss play this time to the right-hand side. Demont trying to get to the outside, well contained. And that's terrific work. Number 8, Mika Darji, did a terrific job to make sure that she was unable to get that seam to the outside. Once running backs get to the outside of the numbers, they're very hard to stop, and especially when you can force them back onto the inside because their defensive line has been doing such a terrific job so far at creating penetration through the offensive line and also making sure that they're not getting any sort of penetration through the middle. And when you can push them to the outside, not getting any yards there, and now they're going to be forced to punt. 4th down and 7 now. And you can be sure the Sun Devils will be a lot more careful with this punt as they were last time round. Once again, another good punt downfield. And that is a very good punt because that's going to put them now at roughly around the 25-yard line. Or actually, well, it look like it's been spot at the 28. And so now the Sun Devils coming back onto the field. Their last possession ended in an interception. Denise Pape had time in the pocket, threw it on the back foot. And terrific work from Rose Alioni to make sure that she jumped the route and made one of the easier interceptions she's going to make in her career. And that will do us for the first quarter, as you just heard there here on Ascension Sports. Terrific first quarter here, 8-6. Here with the Sun Devils leading here. Special thanks to Hostworks for helping us out here with this live broadcast. We'd like to welcome you all around the country if you're watching this, even in New Zealand or internationally. I'd like to thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Guscott. And if you've just tuned in, 8-6, the Monarchs scoring after they were just gifted field position on the Sun Devils 7 after a fumble on the punt return. And Katrina Demont taking a quick flat route in for the touchdown. And then Christy Demont, who has been absolutely destructive as a running back for the Sun Devils, ran it in for 45-plus yards for the lead. And now the Sun Devils are back on the field. 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side. This time tosses out to the left. Moran is able to get that space to the outside. Shows great speed, and that is a 1st down. And more, still on her feet. And it's those extra yards as we talk about. There is a penalty flag on the play, however. Should be very interesting to see what the call is there. But once again, Moran proving terrific pace to get to the outside. It'd be disappointing if this one has to come back, however, but obviously have to see what the call is here. So there'll be a holding call from the spot of the foul, which means that they technically do gain yards on the play because it is a 10-yard loss, but from where the spot of the foul was past the first down marker, so essentially it's going to give them a 1st down and 7 situation, so it's not all bad news. I formation. Monarchs looking to bring extra players into the box here. Handoff off the middle, and she is going nowhere, and the Monarchs all over that run. And it's now 2nd down and 4, 2nd down and 5 here. The Sun Devils have had success getting it to the outside. So far, haven't really seen a lot of success going up the middle for either side as well. And it definitely shows that the defensive lines are up to the challenge today. It's when these running backs get to the outside is when they do damage, and that's when they really set the defense alight. Spread set. Lauren Evans moving in motion. Handoff, fake. And Denise Pape running down the outside, and it looks like she might just be short of the 1st down. Looking onto that fake handoff, and that can certainly open up some space. And they've definitely seen that, especially in this entirety of the Australian Gridiron League campaign in men's and women's, that things like end-around runs and fake handoffs, that anything that you can do to open up space on one side of the field has been extremely effective so far. 3rd down and 1 now. One receiver either side. Hands off the middle. Monarchs doing well to shut it down the middle, and it looks as if Jodie Carl, who took the handoff, only had 1 or 2 yards to get, and she might not get it. Well, the umpires have put it right on the 1st down marker, which means she'll have just enough to keep the drive alive. 1st down and 10 again here for the Sun Devils. 2 receivers either side here in a spread set. 1 in the backfield here. Moran taking a break on the sidelines. Cole in at halfback. Toss play to the left-hand side. Gets to the outside. Breaks a tackle, but good contain from the Monarchs. Forces a fumble. She's able to dive on it, however. And there's that containability again that we're talking about. When you can stop them to the outside, they're going to be forced to cut back on the inside. And it proves again, the defensive line from both sides, particularly the Monarchs here in the early going of this match, have been making sure that there's going to be no easy yards made up the middle. And that's exactly how you want to structure your defense. First thing is to making sure you're not getting pushed around in terms of what their offense is doing. And it's going to set up now a 2nd down and 10, 2nd down and 11 situation now. Lining up in what looks to be essentially a diamond formation. 2 receivers lined up right on the edge of the line. Stacking the box on the Monarchs. Pape drops back again on the back foot, floats it, and it's going to fall short. And once again, it seems to be that she's not getting a lot of power on those throws because she continually scrambling back when she throws it. And especially for those at home watching on the live feed who don't seem to get a feel of how strong this wind is, it is going against the direction in which the Sun Devils are building their offense at the moment. So she's going to have to make sure that if she is going to make passes in the future, she really is stepping up in the pocket and making sure that she is really putting the power of a body through the throw, because you toss the ball up and secondary is going to take that gift every time. That one luckily fell short. Split set. 2 wide receivers either side. Pape fakes the handoff and then throws it off. Moran fumbles it. And she's going to dive on it just to keep conservative. And it's going to be 4th down and long now. Looks to be punting territory. And on plays like that, especially when you look to take the handoff yourself in what's called a speed option, you've got to make sure that the the throw is good, because especially if it's fumbled on the outside where the secondary is coming to hit, they can easily recover the fumble. So, and we've already seen that the Sun Devils have been made pay for a fumble already in this one. And it looks like they will be punting here. Tiani Watiti back to return this one. Bobble snap, and she kicks it into the line. It's up in the air and received, and that means that the ACT Monarchs are essentially going to start maybe a few yards away from where the Queensland Sun Devils are. So things going the way of the Monarchs here in the moment. They trail by 2 points, and it looks as if special teams for the Queensland Sun Devils has really been a lacking area. And the Monarchs coming out here with intensity to show that they're definitely not going to get pushed over here. The first game between these two, which was also the very first game of Australian women's gridiron. 42-0 was the score here, but already we're seeing the Monarchs have come out very competitively. They're putting pressure on the quarterback, Denise Pape. And they're making sure here that they are staying in this one here in the second. Two wide receivers, left-hand side. Two backs in the backfield. De Groot, quick flat. It's intercept. Oh, it's dropped. Looked as if Storm Brook did a good job, undercut the route. Danielle De Groot on the pass was off target and almost could have been taken for a big game, but it's bobbled off the breastplate. And it's going to be 2nd down and 10, and the Monarchs dodge a big bullet there. Storm Brook, though, good play to break it up, but also would have been a lot better, obviously, if she'd pulled it in for the interception. Monarchs still survive on this drive. 2nd down and 10. Two receivers to the right-hand side. Two backs in the backfield. De Groot, there's going to be a flag on the play, and it's going to be blown dead. A little bit of scrap after the play, but nothing in that. So as you heard there, offside on the Monarchs, and that's going to negate whatever was the plan on that. And now 2nd down and 15, which is definitely not an easy position to be in, considering that it doesn't look as if ACT Monarchs are prepared to throw long. Looking just on those quick little flat routes, those little screen routes. Two wide receivers to the right-hand side. Two in the backfield. Handoff off the middle. She's not going to be able to get through. Good penetration. There's Storm Brook again, doing terrific work there to make sure that Catherine Mill was unable to pierce the gap. And that's going to be now 3rd down and long. Setting up an interesting situation here for the Monarchs. You feel as if they are going to punt, they're going to have to make sure they do it well, because you do not want to kind of kick it into a touchback situation. But you feel as if in this situation, if they're unable to get at least 6 or 7 yards on this play, that they're going to have to punt anyway. It's a risky position to be doing 4th down conversions. I formation. De Groot has time. She's now pressured after the pump fake, and she is sacked. Had time initially, looked downfield, and that's on the secondary from the Sun Devils, making sure that she had nothing downfield to pass to, held on to the ball, and the defensive line doing their job. Number 51, Aseta Rupanya, on the sack, and now it's going to be 4th down and long. Interesting to see what the Monarchs do here. Looks as if they are going to punt. Trisha Cameron here for the punt return here. She's lining up on the 10. Good snap. And that is a very good punt. Looks to go out of bounds. That's going to be inside the 10 again. So far, and we said it in the last game as well, especially with how the SA Sharks went about their business in terms of punting, it is a very understated part of your offense. In terms of special teams, if you can continuously put another team further back in their territory, it means they have longer to go to score. And it makes sense, obviously, that if you want to push the opposition's offense all the way back, you make sure that they have got to do the entire length of the field to add to their account. They hold a 2-point lead, the Sun Devils. And they're going to have to go the length of the field here to make sure that they're going to extend it here. Halfway through the second quarter here on Ascension Sports. I'm Chris Guscott. Special thanks to Hostworks helping us out with the live stream. Welcome to wherever in the country or internationally. Handoff up the middle. Moran's got space, looks to cut back and is hit hard. She'll get a few yards on the play, and Moran's done that well in this campaign so far. Has seen nothing that she likes on one side and has done a terrific job to make sure that she's able to cut back where the space is. And we've already seen it so far, how she utilises that space so brilliantly because she just has this explosive speed on her and is able to break a lot of tackles for her size. She's a tremendous asset to this Sun Devils offense. 2nd down and 7 now. Handoff off the middle again. And the Monarchs are again on it, but this is going to gain a few yards, and good yards nonetheless to get them out of dangerous territory. So it looks like they're going to set up a 3rd down and short situation, which, as we said before, opens up the playbook. You can go to that pass, or you can trust your running backs or your fullbacks to get the job done here, especially with only 1 or 2 yards to gain. As for the Monarchs on defense, especially in these sort of situations, you need to make sure you stack the line to make sure they're not getting any easy yards up the middle, and need to make sure that your secondary is doing their job to make sure that they're covering the receivers on the outside. Looks like they're going for the run, though, because there's only 3 receivers lined up. Fakes it. Pepe down the middle, and it's going to be no one there. And that's exactly what we're talking about in terms of having that play action. Puts the Monarchs to stack the line, and it left the secondary open. The pass was off target, however, because Evans was open downfield, along with number 13, Marissa Hayes. And that could have potentially been a huge gain if the pass is on target. Like we've said, though, you've got to give a little bit of recognition here to the weather. It is quite windy here at WAGL here in Queensland. It's going to set up a 3rd down and short now. Hands it off the middle. Blocked at the line, so Moran bounces to the outside. Has the pace. There's a flag down. She's still going. And she is going to break a tackle and get pushed out of bounds. Huge play there in the secondary to make sure that she didn't get in. There is a flag right back at where the line was. And boy, that just proves how dangerous Moran is. It looked as if there was nothing going at the start of that run. She gets outside the numbers. And you leave the secondary with all the work to do. And that is an absolute killer for the Sun Devils. Especially when Christy Moran can do all the work for you and make sure she can get you past midfield as well. Almost in for a touchdown, in for a desperate last-second tackle there. And that's going to push them back now to a 4th down and what is almost a 4th down and 10 situation. Looks like a 4th down and 8. And that limits what you can do, especially in this situation when you're only 10 yards away from your own end zone. You certainly don't want to be taking any chances. And they are going for it. This is an extraordinary play. And there's going to be a flag. That shows a lot of confidence from an offense who they're so deep in their own territory, they're still willing to go for it on 4th down and 8. And another flag as well. And that's coming after the play as well. This is very interesting to see what's going to go on here. This could lead them backed up right in the edge of their own red zone. So an unsportsmanlike called on Emmeline Mitchell. And Queensland is going to call their timeout. Extraordinary. And like we said before, penalties is a real killer in this match, especially on 4th down. You cannot afford to give away penalties in this sort of position, which leaves them now a 4th down and long on what looks like their own 1 or their own 2 yard line, which is extremely risky because what happens when you do get tackled in your own end zone, that results in what is a 2-point safety, which means that would tie the scores for the Monarchs, which would be a huge play. The first penalty on that one was a false start. And Emmeline Mitchell obviously had something to say to the referees as she went back to the huddle. They didn't take too kindly to that. And this is very risky territory. The Monarchs here, if they are able to get good penetration here, depending on if they choose to go for the punt, which would obviously be the smarter option in this one, if they can make sure that they can put the pressure on here, they are a very good chance to get a safety. And regardless of whether they get pressure to the punter or not, they will get possession back, potentially at worst at midfield. So this is a very good situation regardless of what happens for the Monarchs. However, we have seen how confident the Sun Devils are in their offense. You never know what they might be able to do here on 4th down. And especially with Christine Moran, we've seen her get out of situations a lot stickier than this, that's for sure. Interesting to see how they line up here. Looks as if they're going to be punting. It's going to put Katrina Dumont there back to return, and she's setting up potentially around the 35, almost near the 40-yard line. Low snap. She takes time with the punt. It's high. It's not going to get much distance on it. Received by Dumont, who came up to it. Now she's going to run it down. Has space to move, and it's going to be a 1st down and goal situation for the Monarchs. And for those who say that penalties aren't that much of a killer, it certainly has proved it there, because the penalties from the spot of the foul push them back at least 10 yards. That's 10 yards further than what they would have gotten on that punt. And now Dumont gets to the outside, gets room, and now it's going to be a 1st down and goal situation for the Monarchs. And the Sun Devils, it just looks like they're a little bit undisciplined at the moment. And if they came out potentially a little too confident in this one, they've got to really get their head in, because the Monarchs in a very good position to retake the lead here in the 2nd. 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side. De Groot under centre. Toss play to the left-hand side. Mill cuts back. She's going to get clipped to the ankles. Good penetration there. Number 15 for the Sun Devils, Trisha Cameron, gets into the backfield. There's going to be a timeout called here for the Monarchs. And this is a very interesting situation here. The Sun Devils are going to need to defend their goal line well if they want to hold on to their lead here in the 2nd. It's 8-6 in favour of the home team here at WAGL in Queensland. Thank you very much for joining us. Great crowd here and absolutely gorgeous weather as we approach midday here, as opposed to the last time that the Australian Gridiron League came to Queensland. It was rather hot. Nice change of pace, that's for sure. And in this one, the crowd loving every second of this action, and we're hoping you're enjoying it as much as we are here on the live stream. Remember also, if you do miss out on the live stream, make sure that you check out the Ascension Sports YouTube channel. That's where you catch the full game, and also for interviews as well. So make sure you check that out, as well as all the other sports that Ascension Sports has done as well, and all the other games that the Australian Gridiron League has had so far. So thank you very much for joining us. Stick around here. This is an unbelievable situation we got here. Second down and goal now. A huge possession here for this final. One of the biggest in this half so far. 2 wide receivers to the left-hand side. 2 backs in the backfield. De Groot moving her far receiver in motion. Handing around the outside. End around. Dumont looks to get to the outside and is going to be brought down in the backfield. Brilliantly done there. There was a real potential for that play to be big. A fairly elaborate end around that took a long time to execute. And that is exactly how you do an open field tackle. And it puts them a long way back, and the Monarchs now have all the work to do. It's 3rd down and goal, meaning that they have to score or they're going to be put in a 4th down situation. And obviously in this situation, you're not going to punt. If you do get put in a 4th down situation, you're going to be looking at either going for it, or if you're feeling brave, go for the field goal. A field goal would put them in front, and obviously so would a touchdown. That'll obviously be the preferred result for the offense. Queensland putting 5 inside the box. De Groot sits back, under pressure, gets out the pocket, does well. The throw is going to fall short. De Groot doing well to be mobile in the pocket. Good awareness when the defensive line was starting to collapse. She did well to get outside and beat the pressure, threw it over the secondary who were waiting, but it's going to fall short of the receiver. 4th down now for the Monarchs. Believe me, this is a huge point in this game so far. The momentum will be with the team that can hold in this situation here. If the Monarchs can score here on 4th down, they're able to take a lead. Can't imagine there'll be that long left here in the first half. And it puts the Monarchs in a really terrific position, considering they would have come in as underdogs in this one. They've certainly held their own and then some. As for the Sun Devils, you can hold them off. You keep a 2-point lead heading into halftime. And potentially with the opportunity to score again. 2 wide receivers either side. One in the backfield. De Groot drops back, quick drop, and she's going to get hit. Unbelievable defensive play. And a brilliant work there. Number 51 for the Sun Devils, Eseta Rupenya with a brilliant sack on 4th down, and that is what you call a clutch defensive play. De Groot did not have a lot of time in the all. Didn't look to drop back very far. Obviously was looking for a quick pass. Secondary covered it up. And Rupenya getting right in for the sack to halt the drive. And the Sun Devils will dodge a bullet after giving the Monarchs unbelievable field position for the 2nd time today so far. And believe me, this is going to be an interesting set to see what the Sun Devils do, because they have an offense which can explode on every single play. We've seen Moran already do it on numerous occasions. 2 wide receivers here to the right-hand side, and it obviously looks like they're going to be conservative. They're going to kneel out the clock here of what has been a fascinating and high-paced first half here. 8-6 here on Ascension Sports in the inaugural Women's Australian Gridiron League final. The Sun Devils have had to work for every single yard, and the Monarchs have really taken them up to them here. Tight contest here. Make sure you join us in the second half. The live stream will be back and better than ever. Thanks to Hostworks for helping us out with the stream. Make sure you stay tuned here for this one.
field. They're coming out in their formation. They're almost ready to go. Queensland about to roll on out.
And we are set to get underway here for the inaugural Women's Australian Gridiron League final. Second half just about to get kicked off. It's 8-6 at the moment. It's anyone's game at the moment. It has been a great game so far. Plenty of defensive intensity as well as some great offensive plays. It's had it all so far. Let's hope it continues. Good kickoff long down towards the 10. Jodie Carl taking the... And she's going to cut back on the inside, get some space to move, but eventually runs into a pack of Monarchs. And that is going to be it for the kickoff return, and we're going to get set to get underway here for the second half. Chris Guscott here for Ascension Sports. Thank you very much for joining us here on the live stream. Wherever you are around the world, it is a monumental day here for Women's Gridiron, and I'm glad you can join us for it. Proudly brought to you also by Hostworks as well. Thank you very much for them for assisting us with this stream. And the Sun Devils now to get started here. Roughly around their 35-yard line. Two wide receivers either side. Split set. Denise Papay. Toss play to the left-hand side. Moran cuts back down the middle. Gets hit hard. And she's going nowhere. And that's exactly the sort of intensity that has been in at this game all game. Bridget MacArthur making a terrific play on that one. And it's that sort of open field tackles that are exactly what is needed when you have a running back like Christy Moran. We keep mentioning it in the first half. Well, she had 8 touchdowns in the first 2 games of this campaign. She already has one to her name here, which is the one that helped the Sun Devils take the lead. She is very dangerous. You need your linebackers all over her. 2 wide receivers either side again. Split set. Fumble on the snap. Toss play to the right-hand side. Moran's got space. Cuts to the outside. Breaks a tackle. Flag down. She's got room to move. And she will go all the way to the house. And just as we mentioned how dangerous Moran is, she shows us all on the field what electric pace to get down the outside. Breaks a few tackles. There are flags down on the field, however. We'll have to wait to see what the call is, because if this is on the Sun Devils, once again, their ill discipline that they had in the first half could cost them again. If not, however, it's going to be adding to their lead. Let's wait to see what the call is. Marissa Hayes called for the holding, and that is going to negate the entire run. Once again, penalties affecting Queensland in their drive at the moment. They've looked a little sloppy today after what we've seen from their first 2 games of the campaign. They went undefeated to book their home final. And they certainly did a lot better job here at making sure that they were dictating the offense on their own terms. Instead of getting pushed back on numerous occasions due to penalties, they almost conceded the touchdown towards the end of the second quarter, because of penalties pushed them right up against their own goal line. Spread set again. 2 wide receivers. Toss play to the left-hand side. Moran tosses it back and an end around. She's got room to move Ella Tuvey around the outside, but smartly gets out of bounds before contact. Looks as if that will be for little or no gain. And once again, that's good work from the Monarchs. There is a flag down deep in the secondary. Should be interesting to see what the call is here. Quick conference in the middle of the field here. And for the second play in a row, Marissa Hayes is pinged for holding. And that is going to bump them all the way back to a 2nd down and 20 situation. There is not a lot in the playbook for situations like this. Especially with the windy conditions here at WAGL, it makes passing very difficult. And obviously, with Queensland's offense, they do tend to favour the run, obviously, because they have the weapons to do so. But in terms of 2nd down and 20, running plays aren't going to be as effective here. But the Monarchs lining up to make sure that they don't give up any big plays. Handoff off the middle. This time Jodie Carl with the reception. Gets a few yards and it's wrapped up solidly. Good work there, number 37, Annalisa Katusa. And Tiani Watiti, the defensive captain for the ACT Monarchs, doing a terrific job to plug the hole there. And even though that was a relatively decent gain, it still sets them up for a 3rd down and 14 situation. Definitely not easy for offensive coordinators and offenses. ACT playing a cover 0, essentially. I formation for Queensland here. Pepe fakes it. Got time downfield. Wide open. The pass is over her head. She had plenty of time, although she looked like she was under pressure. Stepped up. Good throw downfield. And Marissa Hayes had a good chance to undo the bad work that she had with those 2 consecutive penalties, but it's going to be 4th down. The pass was overshot. And Pepe has been unable to hit any form of rhythm in terms of her passing today, which has really left the onus on the Queensland Sun Devils to attack on the ground. And if the Monarchs can hold them out here, they're definitely in this match. The snap is good. Hayes with the kick. It's a helicopter. And it's going to run down, so it's a good kick nonetheless. Katrina Dumont chooses to take it. Gets good blocking, and she's going to get at least 10 to 15 yards on the return. And it's going to put him back near midfield for the Monarchs' first drive of the 3rd quarter here. 8-6. It's anyone's contest here in the inaugural Women's Australian Gridiron League final. First down and 10 now for the Monarchs. Lining up in a split set. 2 receivers either side. 1 in the backfield. De Groot under center. Queensland looking to stack the box here. Toss play to the outside. Taken well by Mill, but shut down in the backfield. Terrific work there. Trisha Cameron getting good penetration. And when running backs are met, as soon as they take the ball, they don't have much option but to try to break the tackle. And obviously, when it comes to linebackers, they're obviously very good at securing their targets when they hit them. 1 yard gain, 2nd down and 9 here in Waco. Absolutely beautiful day, but the wind is really starting to swirl around here. It's going to make passing difficult. Split set. Once again, choosing to run with this formation to spread it out a bit. De Groot again, same play, toss to the left. Again, Trisha Cameron gets penetration. Can't take the tackle, however, but she has help backing her up. And that is Storm Brooke getting in on the tackle. And once again, it's that penetration which forces Catherine Mill to duck inside, not letting her get any sort of movement around outside the numbers, because as we've said time and time again in this one, that is when running backs get the most opportunity to show their pace and their elusive ability. Queensland doing a very good job here on this drive to shut down the 2 runs so far. Both have been toss plays to the left-hand side. This time lining up in a different formation. They've got 2 in the backfield, 2 receivers left-hand side. Queensland once again looking to stack the box. Fakes the handoff, toss to the outside, under pressure, and that's going to be a big loss. Terrific penetration in the backfield. Read the play, looked to fake off to the fullback, but instead tossed it to the outside. And Queensland doing terrific work here on the defensive front to shut them down. And after ACT added the first score of the game, very early on they have really struggled to be able to get some offensive penetration. It's really up to Queensland here. It's been their ill discipline that's cost them in a lot of instances in this game so far. At this point, it's the Sun Devils' game to lose. The Monarchs certainly not out of it, though. 4th down and long, forced to punt. It's a good punt. Good punting from the Monarchs all day, and that's going to be a punt that's going to put them around midfield. And the Sun Devils are going to come back out again, unable to get anything going on their first drive of the half. We're looking to try and get Chris Moran back into the action. because Denise Pepe, the quarterback, has yet to find a rhythm in this one so far. You can put a little bit on the conditions, but from the passes that have been really up in the air, she's been throwing them on the back foot. She really hasn't been able to set herself, and the passes that she have been off target. The Monarchs secondary, however, has been exposed deep on a few plays because you have to treat this Queensland rushing attack with such respect. You've got to come at them hard, and it does leave it open. And for example, right now, cover 0, they're looking for the run, and they're going to get it. Moran gets the toss play to the right-hand side, and she is met solidly. Good work from the linebackers to keep that to a 2 or 3 yard gain. It's going to be 2nd down and 6, 2nd down and 7 potentially here in the third quarter on Ascension Sports. I'm Chris Guscott. Thank you very much for joining us here on the live stream of the inaugural Women's Australian Gridiron League Final. So glad you could join us. I hope that you are enjoying this game as much as we are here. It has been an absolute ripper so far, and there's certainly plenty of gridiron left to play in this one. Spread set, 2 receivers either side. Pepe under centre. Toss play again to the light side. And it's going to be an end around. Hand off to Marissa Hayes. She's got space to move. Good blocking on the outside. And she's going to get the first down and change. She gets out of bounds. Good hit there on the outside. But great blocking on the outside, especially on those end-around plays. What tends to happen is that when the defense commits to one side, you send it the other way around. You need to have good blocking to make sure you're essentially getting a barricade and making sure that you're getting space to outside the numbers and making sure you're giving your running back plenty of green grass to work with. And that's exactly what happened on that play. The linemen were able to move out, and as well as the receivers, were able to block the defenders coming back, and that gave her plenty of room to move. First down for the Sun Devils. Spread set again. Pepe back in the shotgun this time round. Takes the snap. Speed option. She runs straight at the middle and hard into the linebacker. It'll be 5 or 6 yards on the play. She's used the speed option a few times in this one so far. Hasn't really materialized into big gains. It's probably one of the better plays she's done so far. And that speed option is a popular option from back where I am traditionally seeing a lot of gridiron, back in Gridiron SA. They use the speed option a lot, and what it tends to do is it really has to make the secondary make a decision. Do you collapse on the inside or go to the outside? The quarterback has the power in that situation. Spread set here for 2nd down and 4. Hand off. And it's going to be a fake. Pepe has time, gets to the outside, shows good mobility, and she's going to duck out of bounds without contact, and that's going to be a first down. And when you can fool the commentators with your fake handoffs, you're doing a terrific job, and that's exactly what they were able to do on that play. Made the linebackers commit to the run on the inside from Jodie Carl, and that's exactly what you need to do, is opening up space and making sure the secondary and the linebackers and the linemen have no impact on your run, and that you can get out contact-free. It's especially what you want with quarterbacks. What we see particularly in the NFL is a lot of quarterbacks going down through injuries because they're trying to get those few extra yards. Smart play from Denise Pepe to get out of bounds before contact. I formation here for a new set of downs here inside their own red zone now. Good drive forming. Handoff up the middle to the fullback. She's got a few meters to move, but doesn't get very far at all. Suzanne Panapeza making a good tackle. Very good tackle. That's going to be 2nd down and 7 now. It's been a very entertaining game so far, and the Sun Devils, although you feel they might be on top in this game, really have not taken advantage of the situations they've been in, and in fact have almost been giving this game away to the Monarchs. They've given them good field position twice. Lots of penalties at the moment, setting them back, but this has been a good drive. This is what we've come to expect from the Sun Devils. Split set, 2 receivers either side. Pepe under center. Moran in the backfield. It's always dangerous. Toss play to the right. Fakes the end around, but good work from the secondary. And the ACT Monarchs doing well this time round to shut down the toss play. And as you can see, they're looking to try variations of those trick plays to try to open up some gaps. Well, it looks as if it might have been actually a smarter option on that play to hand off for the end around, because the linebackers and the secondary were already so well prepared for that run. Moran really did not have a lot of room to move once she faked the handoff. Sets up an interesting position now, 3rd down and 7. Queensland sideline getting pumped up here. And the umpires are going to come in and spoil the party. Going to blow the play dead here. And it looks like Queensland are going to call a timeout. When we come back, 3rd down and 7 in the red zone here. Important drive for the Sun Devils here in the 3rd on Ascension Sports.
Reminding everybody that the canteen's open and doing a moving business with the steak burgers today. Sorry, burger burgers, unfortunately. Good on Queensland. Would just once again like to thank everyone who's come out here today. Without spectators, the game's pretty empty. So we're all glad that you're here. Impact Sports Australia, one of Good Iron Queensland's biggest supporters for all the players here. Impact Sports is the Australian supplier of shut sports equipment, which is arguably the best equipment there is.
Third down and 7 following the Queensland timeout. Important drive here. Definitely don't need to tell anyone here. One receiver either side. 2 in the backfield. Monarchs looking to bring the blitz. You can tell Pepe gets blitz from the corner and a terrific sack. Pepe took her time, and Catherine Mill, who is the running back for the Monarchs, showing some terrific speed. And when you bring the corners on a blitz, it's very hard for the quarterbacks to see that, especially from the blind side. And what a terrific defensive play. We saw earlier in this game here, just at the end of the first half, Iseta Rupenya made a sack on a 4th down in a goal situation to keep the Monarchs from scoring. And now that could be a key sack to keep the Sun Devils from scoring. 4th down and very long. Obviously not going to punt here. They're going to like their chances. Spread set. Under center, toss play to the outside. It's not a good toss. Hands off on the flea flicker. But well done from the secondary. And the Monarchs shut it down. Rose Alioni making a terrific play in the backfield. And made it very difficult on that play. Moran had to expend most of her effort just taking the toss on that play. Does the smart move though, tosses it off. But Elatuvi unable to do a lot with it. And the Monarchs holding firm and getting change in return. And that looks like that's it for the 3rd quarter as well. So what a final quarter have we got lined up for us here on Ascension Sports of the inaugural Women's Australian Gridiron League Final. It's 8-6 here. I'm Chris Guscott. Thank you very much for joining us. Whether you're in Australia, international, wherever you're watching this live stream, on your mobile, on your tablet, or on your computer, thank you very much for joining us. Hope you're enjoying this game as much as I am. It has been an absolute terrific matchup so far. The Monarchs, who after their first game, who went down 42-0 against the Sun Devils, have come out and have held their own. And by held their own, they're only 2 points down here in the 4th. It is anyone's contest. It's an absolutely beautiful day here in WAGL. Special thanks to Hostworks for helping us out with the stream as we get underway into the final quarter here of this championship game. 2 receivers to the left-hand side. DeGroot under center with 2 backs in the backfield. Queensland looking to stack the box. They expected the run, and they got it. Shut it down for a few yards. Be a 2nd down and 7, 2nd down and 6 situation. Obviously going to be disappointing to not have any women's gridiron on after this match, but it has been a terrific campaign. Thank you for joining us for the entirety of it. Just remember, if you've missed any of the action from either the men's or the women's competition, go to the Ascension Sports YouTube page. Full games and interviews up on the page, exclusive to Ascension Sports. 2 receivers to the right-hand side. De Groot, hands off. Mill gets hit with her own lineman. She's going to get hit. Great work in the open field, and that has been a real strength for the Sun Devils today. Their open field tackling has been terrific, and it has prevented the Monarchs, especially Catherine Mill, who shows she has plenty of yards after contact ability. They've prevented them from getting big gains. It's now 3rd down and 9. This is a key drive here. They need to be able to move the chains, take some time off the clock, and get down the field, because if you are forced to punt here, once again, you're going to have to make a key stop on the Sun Devils. And just remember, you are still 2 points down. You need to start attempting to dictate the tempo. 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side. 2 backs in the backfield here. 3rd down and 9. Key play. Queensland bringing the house on the blitz. Well done from De Groot. Fakes it. She's got time. Tosses it to Mill. And that is an unbelievable play to move the chains. And we haven't seen De Groot take the ball on a lot of running plays in this entire campaign. And she comes out with that one. Completely sends the defense the wrong way. And finally gets the toss off to Mill for those pivotal few yards to keep the drive alive. And now at midfield, it's a fresh set of downs for the Monarchs. That is a very, very important play, considering, just as we said there, Queensland brought a lot of players in the box there who were expecting that run down the middle. They looked like they got it, and then De Groot just wheeled out to the outside. Heads up play from the quarterback. And she keeps the drive alive for her team. 1st down and 10, De Groot. Hands off. She's going to get a few yards. And it's going to be potentially 2nd down and 6 here. And 4 yards here is very key. Like we've said a few times, it's those first few yards you can get on 1st down. It sets up these sort of situations. 2nd down and 6 gives you the opportunity to pass. It also gives you the opportunity to run. And when you can keep the playbook completely and utterly open, you're keeping the defense on their toes. And as for the defense, they're playing a cover 1 here. 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side. De Groot, toss play to the right-hand side. Mill gets good blocking, cuts back inside. She's going to have to barge her way for a few extra yards. And like we said, it's that old expression of football is a game of inches, and every inch counts, especially in a tight final like this. Wait to see where they spot the ball here, because if it is 3rd down and short, it still doesn't make him in a bad position, but it is a 1st down and 10. And the Monarchs, right when they need to generate a good drive, have already put back-to-back 1st downs on the sheet here, and it's now putting the Sun Devils under pressure because they now have to hold here. De Groot orchestrating the offense well here. 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side again. Queensland cover 1, trying to bring pressure into the box, and the umpires throwing their flags onto the field. There's going to be a penalty. Interesting to see what they call here. And that's exactly what the Monarchs did not need. They've got the momentum of a good drive so far, and they give up a false start penalty. And ill discipline cost the Sun Devils in the 1st half and in instances in the 3rd. The Monarchs certainly can't afford to get into that sort of habit when they need it most here. Championship is on the line at the moment. I'm sure you definitely do not have to tell any of the players that, or anyone here. It's been a terrific game so far here on Ascension Sports. 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side. De Groot under centre. Hands off to the fullback. She gets a little bit of room to move. And she is hit very hard. Danielle Stozic trying to make the run, but not as far as Lon Tolick, making a big tackle in the open field. And that's exactly what you like to see for Gridiron, the big hits. And it looks like it's going to be now 3rd down and short. Oh, sorry, my apologies. 2nd down and short following the penalty. Crowd starting to get involved here at Waco Oval in Queensland. Absolutely beautiful day. The wind is swirling around a bit, making it difficult for the quarterbacks who are looking to take it to the air. But both of these teams do enjoy taking it on the ground. Queensland bringing pressure in the box, looking to blitz. The toss is to the outside. The end around is botched. And Miller's brought down for a big loss. And it looked as if that play started falling apart from the very beginning, because you need to take into consideration how hard it is for an offense, especially a quarterback who's making a toss play, when she's immediately under pressure from the very second she snapped it. That's what the defensive line of the Sun Devils did. Got right through that offensive line like it was barely there. And the toss was off target, which made sure that the end around did not work. And the secondary was quick to shut down on the play. And it's going to be 3rd down and very long. Looking to potentially be 3rd down and 17. It's very interesting to see what happens here. 2 receivers to the right-hand side. De Groot under pressure, bubbles the snap. And that will shut that down in a very disappointing manner. The Monarchs were looking very good in terms of making sure that they were going out there, they were getting the yards they needed, and De Groot was orchestrating the offensive well, and now a few errors back-to-back on plays. It is 4th down and extremely long, and this is exactly when you need playmakers like Christy Moran, who can definitely make these sort of runs. ACT has a few in terms of Catherine Mill. She has definitely proven her ability when she gets into the open field. The Sun Devils have not given her a second of space here, and it's going to force the punt. Dumont with a good punt downfield is going to be taken. Fumbled! And it's going to go down on the ball. And could it be another fumble on a punt return? Costing the Sun Devils a lot of hearts and mouths. And very, very close call for the Sun Devils. They're going to retain possession straight through the hands of number 15, Trisha Cameron, who was back to return. And nervous moments for the home crowd, but they're going to hold on to the ball and now have possession. Halfway through the 40, you feel as if now you're kind of going into what is essentially called a 4-minute offense, which is you're trying to run out the clock, you're just getting a few first downs, you're keeping their defense on the field, and you're eventually going to force them to use their timeouts. So even if you give the ball up late, they don't have any timeouts. They've got to be quick with their possessions, and they've got to be effective. And in terms of how the Sun Devils are defended, they'll be confident so far. They just need their offense. Just need their offense to step up. And Queensland obviously not liking what they saw when they lined up there, calling a timeout. So instead of forcing the Monarchs to use their timeouts, they use one of their own here. And boy, have we got an interesting few minutes coming up here on Ascension Sports. Thanks to Hostworks for helping us out with the stream here. I'm Chris Guscott. Thank you very much for joining me for this inaugural Women's Australian Gridiron League final. And boy, has it been an absolute cracker so far. 2 points here is the margin in the final quarter. Don't be deceived by the scoreline, however, in terms of offensive plays. This one has had plenty of excitement, that's for sure. Crowd looking to cheer their home team on. They hold a very slender advantage here in the 4th. 1st down and 10 here for the new drive. 2 backs in the backfield, 2 receivers to the right-hand side. Pape faked it up down the middle and it worked well. 1st down straight away. Emmeline Mitchell straight up the middle playing the fullback on that play. Pape did a terrific work there. She faked the toss to the outside, and especially when you have players like Morena in the backfield, you've got to respect it, regardless of what the play call is going to be. And that fake threw out a lot of the defenders, and she was able to get a relatively clean pass straight through the line. That's a 1st down. Off to a good start, the Sun Devils, in terms of their offense. In the shotgun now, and there's going to be flags on the play. False start on the Sun Devils, however, undoes a bit of the work that happened on that last play. It'll be disappointing. It's roughly around 5 minutes left in this one, which makes this a very interesting situation. The Sun Devils need to stay on the field. As for the Monarchs, it is imperative that they get a stop here and get their offense back on the field, because of where this punt could go. It could see that the Monarchs need about 70 yards here to make a game-winning drive. Split set, 2 receivers either side. Bebe in the shotgun. Looks for the speed option. She fakes it. She'll get a few yards, potentially get back to the original line of scrimmage before the penalty. And it looks like it's going to be 2nd down and 10, 2nd down in the 11 area. But we have a player down on the field. Obviously don't like to see any players down. Hope she can get up and back to playing immediately here.
Sounds like a pretty good time to remind you about the sponsors. Strap it for medical sports supplies, proud sponsors of Queensland Sun Devils. L Photography Australia, proud jersey sponsor of the Sun Devils women's team. World Gym Southside, also a very proud sponsor of the 2014 Sun Devils. Motor and Marine, live stream partner for the 2014 Sun Devils. And Impact Sports Australia, your local dealer for shop sports in Australia. We've got a community announcement for the owner of a Blue Mission Pathfinder 936GCO. You've left your lights on.
Kate Raymond coming off the field. She's getting helped off. Obviously don't like to see any players off. We wish her a speedy recovery. And by speedy recovery, we really wish she comes back onto the field for maybe the next play, but obviously taken off for precautionary sake. That's a loss for the Monarchs. They've got to keep strong here. 2nd down and 12 now. They need to get their defense off the field and stop this Sun Devils, and there's going to be a jump. And it looks as if the Sun Devils hard count got to number 33, Kylie de Groot. Have to wait to see what the call is here. But instead of Kylie de Groot jumping the gun, it was number 10, Ella Tuvey. And now that puts them back a further 5 yards, and the Sun Devils, particularly really struggling to remain disciplined in this one. We've seen in the games that they've had in the Australian Gridiron League campaign so far, they've remained fairly disciplined, have been able to dominate. They're just making a few fundamental errors. It's making them very difficult to stay on the field here because they need to keep this drive alive. Fumbled snap, fumbled handoff. It looks to be recovered. And the Queensland Sun Devils very shakily getting towards the line, and it's going to be recovered. And the Monarchs take possession on the edge of their red zone with a 2-point deficit here, with roughly 4.5 minutes left here in the final of this Australian Gridiron League match. What an extraordinary turn of events, and it just looks as if the Sun Devils are unsettled a little bit. Facing a 2nd down and 17, the snap was fumbled, which meant the handoff was in turn fumbled, and that went to the ground, and the Monarchs linebackers and linemen quick enough to recover it before Queensland could jump on it, and now a golden opportunity for the Monarchs to steal this one away. 2 receivers to the right-hand side. De Groot under center. Hand off to the fullback, and that's fumbled, and that's recovered. Unbelievable turn of events in this one. And you would not believe what is going on. Chaos is reigning in this Australian Gridiron League final. Trisha Cameron diving on the botched handoff. Danielle de Groot coming out from under centre, trying to hand off to Danielle Stozic. And that hits the ground, and Trisha Cameron the first to react. And just when you thought the Sun Devils might have thrown this one away because they fumbled, the Monarchs on the very next play cough up possession themselves, and now the Sun Devils get another chance to redeem themselves. What an extraordinary match we've got going on here. Handoff down the middle. This time it's good. And she's going to get wrapped up. You don't expect any passes in this situation. As we said before, it's a 4-minute offense. You need to keep your team on the field. You need to keep converting. Just keep the chains moving. Keep that defense on the field for the opposition. Most importantly, keep the clock running. And also in that regard, eventually it will become too much to bear for the Monarchs. They'll have to call timeouts. This is a huge possession for the Sun Devils, because if they happen to punt here and give it up to the Monarchs again, they might be in trouble. You just never know. So the Sun Devils, a championship possession perhaps. Pepe under center. Looking to run the clock out a little bit. Hands off the middle. Emmeline Mitchell barges through 1 or 2. And it looks like she might have the first down. And it looks like there's a little bit going on there behind the play now. Things starting to get a little chippy in the final. You can come to expect that, however, and that will be a first down. Huge run there, Emmeline Mitchell. Putting in the hard yards for the Sun Devils. And as this clock continues to wind down, the Monarchs need to get off the field. Sun Devils doing a good job so far on this possession at least. Absolutely vital if they want to hold on to this one and get their hands on the inaugural Women's Australian Gridiron League trophy. Pepe hands it off. Moran ducks inside 1, 2, breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, breaks a third. And it's that yards after contact ability. You look at the gain at the end and you go 6 or 7 yards. May not be that important, but look at where it's got them now. They need to keep this drive alive, and a 2nd down and 4 is much better than a 2nd down and 8. It's just logical. And it looks as if there's another player down for the Monarchs. This one's starting to take their toll. But Moran proving a game-breaking ability again, and even though it doesn't seem like it was that much of a difference on that play, still keeps the clock running. She stayed in bounds and also makes it much easier to convert here in this 2nd down and medium situation. Because you feel as if they can get 1 or 2 more first down, it's going to start forcing the Monarchs to call timeouts. And they're going to have to start really making sure that they get off the field, because the Sun Devils have this game to lose now. 8-6 here in the 4th. Here on Ascension Sports. Thank you very much for joining us for this entire live stream. If you've missed this game, go to the YouTube channel, Ascension Sports on YouTube, because you do not want to miss a second of this game. Umpires stepping in here. And that is an absolute killer, and it's that ill discipline that we continue to talk about. Penalties can cost you matches, and Queensland, in the first half and in bits of the 3rd quarter, looked like they were really starting to throw away a game with their penalties, and now it looks like the Monarchs in the 4th have taken that on. Unfortunately for them, that is a huge automatic first down for them. Tosses it outside to Moran, cuts inside 1, beats another, shrugs 1, she's in, first down, and change, gets into the backfield. And when Christy Moran gets the ball, it's very hard to stop. And she's proving her game-breaking ability here. Very important first downs here in the Monarchs. Time is ticking away here in the final. The Queensland Sun Devils holding on to a very slender 8-6 lead. Coming desperation time here. Still 2-minute warning hasn't been called yet. So in terms of what the Monarchs need to do here is get off the field immediately, and then they need a huge drive to win this. Sun Devils just need to keep what they're doing. They're doing terrific work on the ground. Once again to Moran. Handoff down the middle, shrugs 1 or 2. And they're making her the workhorse here. Get up the middle, few yards. Keeps the clock running, and it puts them in a better position for the 2nd down conversion. 2nd down and 5, 2nd down and 6 coming up here. And the crowd here on the edge of their seats. The Sun Devils, when they needed to get a big drive, they have done it so far, and they have come from all the way down from near their 20, all the way down to the edge of their red zone at the Monarchs 20. So a good drive down the field has helped them almost secure this game. They've still got to finish it. Monarchs stacking the box. Pepe rolls out. Fake handoff. She's got space. She's going to get out of bounds for the first down. That will be a first down, but it stops the clock. So it would have been preferred probably for her to stay in bounds, keep this clock running, make the Monarchs use their timeouts. But in terms of the first down, that is absolutely invaluable. And as Danielle de Groot did in the fourth quarter as well, it's when the quarterback can wheel out there, fake the handoff, send the secondary and the defenses the wrong way. It is an absolute necessity in terms of running to have one of those plays in your playbook because it really opens up the defense. And on that play, definitely had the desired result. Time is running out here in the Australian Gridiron League final. The inaugural women's competition is coming to a close, and the Sun Devils hold the advantage at the moment. Pepe fakes the handoff again. She's got space. Looks to get to the outside. Breaks one. Down into the corner. Is she in? Out of bounds. She's going to get out of bounds on the 2, so it looks like that will be a first down, but it will once again stop the clock, which is the best news for the Monarchs. But once again, another good run from Denise Pepe down the stretch when her team has needed her most. She has stepped up and made some big plays. First down and goal. The Monarchs now more than ever need a big stop or to force a very quick turnover. Sun Devils, as I said before, they have this match to lose now. They're going with the I formation. Monarchs looking to stack the blocks, trying to get some blitzing from the outside. Pepe under center. Looks like there might have been a false start, but it's not going to count. Mitchell trying to barge her way through, and the Monarchs hold it up. So no touchdown. It's good resilience there from the Monarchs defense. Doing a terrific job to hold up, especially down the middle. It's not easy to stop a fullback coming down the middle. So Queensland calling a timeout, which is very interesting. It's not wasting any of the Monarchs' timeouts, and it also stops the clock. The clock would have been continued to run because that was a running play and it stayed in bounds. It's now making this match very interesting, and in terms of what the Sun Devils need to do now, obviously the desired result is to get 8 points from this conversion and almost put this game out of reach. But it wouldn't actually really be end of the world either if they were even held to just having to go turnover on downs, but still keeping the defense on the field. It's all about clock management now. And the Monarchs have time against them at the moment in terms of what they're going to have to do on offense. They're going to have to go big because this will most likely be their last chance. It has been an absolute ripper of a game here on Ascension Sports. Thank you very much for joining me. Chris Guscott here taking you through this one. On behalf of everyone at Ascension Sports, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us here, wherever you are around the world. Seconds down and goal. Everyone's tight down the middle. Quarterback sneak, and she's in. Touchdown, Queensland. And that should be all that she wrote in this one. Queensland, when they needed to do it the most, drove the length of the field for the touchdown. And it's only fitting that Denise Pepe, who had a few big conversions down the stretch, runs it in herself. And there's 14 seconds left in this one. So you presume that barring an unbelievable turn of events, but believe me, we have seen stranger things happen in football, that's for sure. That's the beauty of the game. A 2-point conversion here would put this game almost out of reach. This is a massive conversion here for this game. They're putting everyone in here. Toss play to the outside. She's shut down. Terrific tackle on the outside. Catherine Mill. She's been doing it all today on offense and defense. So now, roughly 10 seconds left. 8 points the margin, which means that a kickoff return and a 2-point conversion would tie this one. But the Monarchs do not have a lot of time at all in this one. The Monarchs, this is going to be their last roll of the dice, and this is exactly where you remember where you were when these sort of moments come up. Queensland Sun Devils in control here. They just need to make sure that they do not do anything silly in these final stages, because they have the trophy in one hand. 14-6 following the 2-yard quarterback sneak from Denise Bepay. Katrina Dumont back to receive, and it looks like she has the hopes of the Monarchs in her hands here. Here we go. Good long kick. Mix up in the backfield, but looks like Mill's going to take it. She's got space, cuts in the middle, getting blocks to the outside, but runs into a field of Sun Devils, and now this should give them time for one play. They will have one play to go down the length of the field. Well, looks like that's it. That is it. Queensland, hold on. 14-6 is your final, and they will be the inaugural Women's Gridiron League champions for 2014 here on Ascension Sports. Congratulations to the Sun Devils. Almost threw this game away, but were able to seal it on a terrific final drive. And an unbelievable result for the home side as the home crowd cheers them on. Thank you very much for joining us for the entirety of the Women's Australian Gridiron League campaign. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. Do not forget, we have more action next week. The men's AGL final is next week, and it's here in Queensland as well, between the Queensland Sun Devils and the New South Wales Wolfpack. Unbelievable game here. Hopefully we get another final like this one. 14-6 is your final. Thank you very much for joining us here on Ascension Sports.
ladies and gentlemen, before you leave today, we have a little bit of hardware that we need to present. If we could please get the Queensland Sun Devils and also the ACT Command teams and staff to come up towards the commentary position, it would be greatly appreciated. Can we please have the players and coaches to move their way up towards the commentary position, please? We have some official presentations to do. Queensland, would you like a trophy? Oh, come and get the bloody thing. Come on, Sun Devils. ACT, please. What a way to do it. Queensland Sun Devils, champions, the first ever national championship for female gridiron. Congratulations. And it was our game. So thank you. And New South Wales, thank you for being a part of it as well. We've got a couple of VIP guests with us today. We've got Mr. Matt Steele representing Gridiron Australia. Yeah, and we've got State Member for Logan, Mr. Michael Boots.
of statistics and effort in all the games that have been played across the last few weeks. The most valuable player for the tournament, for the inaugural female gridiron national championships, is Christy Wagner. Christy scored 4 touchdowns in the first game, 4 touchdowns in the second game, only 1 touchdown today. And ran about 4,000 yards.
Excuse my man voice today. Thank you very much. In the company that we played with evidence, this is awesome. But I can't take all the credit. I may be the person carrying that ball. The defense team who were unbelievable, got us in field position of possession, and it was my own team that pushed and made pass for me. So this is for all of you guys. You will learn this. Shut me down. That was awesome. Well done. I felt every bit of that. And thanks also to New South Wales for hosting us last week as well. But well done, Queensland. We just made history.
I bring to mind to Mr. Michael Booty, state member for Logan.
I'll just move the microphone. Listen, I won't take long. I just want to say congratulations to both teams. You can tell from my voice that I was doing a lot of yelling today. You guys were awesome. Both teams. Defense was incredible on both sides. I was really impressed with how you played the game. Congratulations to both teams for making the team. Well done to our Sun Rebels. Way to go, Queensland Sun Rebels. National champions. Outstanding job. Well done to you all.
Thank you very much.
functions without your support. Obviously, we're a minor sport here, the supports come out back the advantage. It's just fantastic the sacrifice you guys make for these girls to actually come over, and especially shout out to all the men looking after all those kids. We're handing back to you after tonight. To my girls, I'm so proud of you guys, so proud of you. No one would have thought we would have been here. So proud of you guys. We're a small team. We're a small team, but you got your hearts together. Today's time. So massive shout out to you girls. Enjoy the night. Stay safe and don't drink. Thank you very much. Coach McKinnon, all the captains out there. We'd like to present you with this trophy, 2014 National Champions. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes all our business tonight. No, it doesn't lie.
On behalf of my team, I just want to thank Gridiron Australia for putting this on for us, Gridiron Queensland.
Well, that brings us to the end of everything today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, stick around, have a quiet island and watch them. This is the first league of Gridiron Supremacy in Queensland this year. Thank you for coming. See you all next week.
We're getting you.